Welcome to this video lecture series on transportation engineering. In this session, we shall discuss on the design of the horizontal alignment. As we know that horizontal alignment is an important aspect of the pavement design, as the proper highway horizontal alignment may result in the high performance of the pavement in regards with its speed, safety, efficiency and comfort. It may also lead to the decrease in the economy and the increase in the highway capacity. The various design elements which one has to consider in the horizontal alignment are: first is the design speed, second the horizontal curve, third super elevation, fourth the type and length of the transition curves, fifth the widening of the pavement on the curves, and lastly the setback distances. The first, the design speed. The design speed is the main factor on which the geometric design of the pavement it depends, and the design speed of the road it depends upon the class of road and the terrain. That means what type of terrain is available for the construction of the road. Now from the table we can see the classification of the terrain and the cross slope. So if the terrain is plain, then the cross slope in percentage is 0 to 10. Second, if it is a rolling terrain, then 10 to 25%. If it is a mountainous terrain, then 25 to 60%. If it is a steep slope, then it should be greater than 60%. Next is the design speed on the highways. From the table, we can see the road classification and their design speeds in km/h for the various terrains. The road classifications such as the expressways, national and state highways, major district roads, other district roads and villages can be seen from the table, whereas corresponding to these roads, the design speeds in km/h for the terrains like the plain, the rolling, the mountainous and steep, the design speeds can be seen. Next is the horizontal curve. A horizontal highway curve is a curve in a plane to be provided in order to change the direction to the center line of the road. Now when a vehicle it traverses a horizontal curve, the centrifugal force acts horizontally towards the center of gravity of the vehicle. Hence the centrifugal force is given by the equation that is P equals to W into V square divided by G into R, where P is the centrifugal force in kg, W is the weight of the vehicle in kg, R equals to radius of the circular curve in meters, V is the speed of the vehicle in meters per second, and G is the acceleration due to gravity, that equals to 9.8 meters per second square. Now P by W is known as the centrifugal ratio or the impact factor, and the centrifugal ratio is thus equal to V square upon GR. The centrifugal force acting on a vehicle negotiating a horizontal curve again has two effects. The first one is the tendency to overturn the vehicle outwards about the outer wheel, and next is the tendency to skid the vehicle laterally outwards. This basically is due to the outward pull by the effect of the centrifugal force. Now the first, we can see the overturning effect. If we see the figure, it shows the vehicle moving on a flat road. The points A and B are the two wheels of the vehicle, and the point at the center is the center of gravity at a distance h from the top surface of the road, whereas the distance center to center distance of wheel A and B is B, which can be seen from the figure, and the inner side of the curve and outer side of the curve also can be seen in the figure. Point P or force P is the centrifugal force acting on the vehicle. Now, for the equilibrium condition for overturning will occur when the P into H will be equals to W into B by 2, or when P by W equals to P by 2 into H. That is the moment taken at the wheel B. That is P into H and P by W equals to P by 2 into H. Now this means that there is a danger of the overturning when the centrifugal ratio P by W or V square upon G into R, it attains a value of B by 2 into H. Now the transverse skidding effect. Here from the figure again we can see that the pressure under the inner and outer wheels of A and wheel B. Here the pressure on the outer wheel B is more because of the influence of the centrifugal force P tending to pull the vehicle outside, and FA and FB are the force which actually are acted at point A and point B. Here W is the weight of the vehicle and the RA and RB are the reactions at the vehicle wheel A and wheel B respectively. So now the equilibrium condition for the traverse skid resistance developed will be given by P equals to FA plus FB, that is the centrifugal force P will be equals to the force P will be equals to FA plus FB, that equals to F of RA plus RB, that is reaction at A and reaction at B, and that will be equals to F of W. Since P equals to F into W, the centrifugal ratio P by W is equals to F, and F is the coefficient of friction. So in other words, when the centrifugal ratio attains a value equal to the coefficient of lateral friction, there is a danger of the lateral skidding. So here F, if it is less than B by 2 into H, the vehicle would skid and not overturn. And if B by 2 is lower than F, then the vehicle would overturn on the outer side before skidding. Thus, the relative danger of the lateral skidding and overturning depends on the whether F is lower or higher than B by 2 into H. Next, the super elevation. Now, in order to overcome or counteract the effect of the centrifugal force, that is the transverse skidding or the overturning of the vehicle, and that is to reduce the tendency of the vehicle to overturn or skid, the outer edge of the pavement has to be raised with respect to the inner edge, and this can be done by providing a transverse slope throughout the length of the horizontal curve. This transverse inclination to the pavement surface is known as the super elevation or cant or the banking. Now from the figure we can see that with respect to the inner edge, the outer edge of the road has been increased. So this is the super elevation E, which is expressed as the ratio of the height of the outer edge with respect to the horizontal width. Here E is the increase of the height of the outer edge, and B is the width of the road, P is the centrifugal force, W is the weight of the vehicle, and theta is the angle of inclination by which the road surface has been increased, or the height of the outer edge has been increased. Now the analysis of the super elevation. From the figure we can see that P is the centrifugal force, W is the weight of the vehicle, and P cos theta and W sin theta are the x component of the force P and weight W respectively, whereas P sin theta and W cos theta are the y components of the centrifugal force P and W respectively. RA and RB are the reactions at the wheelbase A and wheelbase B respectively. Theta is the angle made due to the rise into the outer edge of the pavement. So for the equilibrium condition, the P cos theta should be equals to W sin theta plus F of A and F B. So P cos theta, that is equals to W sin theta plus F into RA plus F into RB. So P cos theta again will be equals to W sin theta plus F into bracket RA plus RB. That is the reaction at A and reaction at B. Again, P cos theta equals to W sin theta plus F into bracket W cos theta plus P sin theta. That is this RA and RB. RA and RB. Substituting the values, W cos theta will be equals to RA plus RB plus P in the bracket cos theta minus F of sin theta will be equals to W sin theta plus F W cos of theta. Dividing the entire equation by W cos theta, we get P upon W into 1 minus F into tan theta, that equals to tan theta plus F. Hence, the centrifugal ratio equals to P by W, that equals to tan theta plus F upon 1 minus F into tan of theta. So the value of the coefficient of the lateral friction F is taken as 0.15, and tan theta, that is the super elevation, seldom it exceeds 7 to 10%. Then the centrifugal ratio equals to P by W equals to tan theta plus F, and P by W equals to E plus F, that is equation 1, but we know that P by W equals to V square upon G into R, that is equation 2. Therefore, the general equation for the design of the super elevation is given by E plus F equals to V square upon G into R. If V is the speed of the vehicle in kilometers per hour, then E plus F equals to V square upon 127 R, where E equals to the rate of the super elevation, that equals to tan of theta, and F equals to design value of the lateral friction coefficient, that equals to 0.15. V is the speed of the vehicle in meter per second, and R is the radius of the horizontal curve in meters, where G equals to acceleration due to gravity, that is 9.81 meters per second square. Next, the maximum super elevation. As per the Indian Road Congress has fixed the maximum limit of the super elevation in the plan and the rolling terrains and in the snow-bound areas as 7%. On the hilly roads not bound by the snow, a maximum super elevation up to 10% is recommended. And on the urban road stretches with the frequent intersections, it may be necessary to limit the maximum super elevation to 4%. The minimum super elevation. Now, from the drainage point of view, it is necessary to have a minimum cross-sectional slope to drain off the surface water. If the calculated super elevation is equal to or less than the camber of the road surface, then the minimum super elevation to be provided on the horizontal curve may be limited to the camber of the surface. Now the steps for the superelevation design. The first step for the design of the superelevation is that a superelevation for 75% of the design speed is calculated neglecting the friction. Yes, E equals to 0.75 v bracket square upon g into r if velocity v is in meters per second, and E equals to v square upon 225 into r if velocity is in kilometers per hour. The second step, if the calculated value of the superelevation E is less than 7% or 0.07, the value so obtained is been provided. If the value of E it exceeds 7% or 0.07, then provide maximum superelevation equal to 7% or 0.07 and proceed with the step 3 or 4. Next, step 3, we have to check the coefficient of friction developed for the maximum value of E equals to 0.07 at the full value of the design speed. So F equals to v square upon g into r minus 0.07 and F equals to v square upon 127 into r minus 0.07 if the velocity is in kilometers per hour. Here, if the value of the coefficient of friction F thus calculated is less than 0.15, then the superelevation of 0.07 is safe for the design speed. If it is not, calculate the restricted speed as given in the step 4. The step 4 is the allowable speed at the curve is calculated by considering the design coefficient of the lateral friction and the maximum superelevation. So here E plus F, that is superelevation plus the coefficient of friction, equals to 0.07 plus 0.15, that equals to VA square upon G into R, that equals to VA square upon 127 R. Again, E plus F equals to 0.22 equals to VA square upon GR equals to VA square upon 127 R. The safe allowable speed VA or capital VA, that is in meters per second or in kilometers per hour, is calculated as VA equals to under root of 0.22 G into R in meters per second and VA equals to under root of 27.94 R in kilometers per hour. If the allowable speed if the allowed speed as calculated above is higher than the design speed, then the design is adequate and provides a superelevation of E equals to 0.07. And if the allowable speed is less than the design speed, the speed is limited to the allowed speed calculated above, and the appropriate warning sign and speed limit regulation sign are to be installed to restrict and regulate the speed. I hope you must have understood the concept of the highway alignment, horizontal alignment, and the superelevation. With this, we shall stop here. Thank you.